In her compelling book, Suzanne Bergeron delves into the realm of development discourse and its intersections with political ideologies, particularly those of the left. She investigates whether the left has provided a radical alternative to the mainstream orthodoxy in the field of development, or if it's entangled in similar debates. Additionally, Bergeron explores how feminist resistance has influenced and reshaped these debates. The book is structured around 5 chapters, progressing from discussions of modernization to dependency theory, structural adjustment, and globalization. Bergeron uncovers the ways in which development discourse, whether emanating from the right, center, or left, continues to shape discussions on economic progress and social transformation. She argues that this discourse plays a role in both including and excluding specific social subjectivities. Importantly, Bergeron contends that how development economics is narrated and contested has repercussions for marginal social movements, whose voices are often marginalized. A significant departure in Bergeron's analysis is her focus on the nation-state as a critical entry point. She highlights how the concept of the nation-state has been constructed and deployed within development economics. This focus unveils the embedded masculine, Eurocentric, gendered, and classed positions within representations of the nation-state. She asserts that the nation-state, while being employed by development economists to achieve economic growth and social transformation, often ignores critical post-colonial moments in the development process. Bergeron explores how nation-building processes have led to both inclusion and exclusion, with enduring ramifications seen in contemporary ethnic conflicts, religious tensions, and border disputes. Bergeron's analysis demonstrates that modernization efforts were driven by high modernist visions shared by state and market advocates alike. The Harrod-Domer model and Rostow's stage growth theories became influential frameworks for planning economic growth. Even liberal critics who aim to incorporate social concerns into technocratic planning structures were tied to development planning matrices. However, the author highlights instances, such as land reform initiatives in Latin America, where counter-hegemonic movements disrupted authoritative initiatives and challenged dominant discourse. The book also delves into the emergence of the Latin American dependency school, critiquing their dependence on Western-centric explanations and their limitations in freeing themselves from capitalist economic determinism. Bergeron argues that dependency theorists, despite their critique of dominant economic paradigms, continue to uphold hierarchical, gendered, and Eurocentric perspectives. These perspectives often undermine peripheral communities' agency and resistance efforts, reinforcing marginalization of local knowledge and practices. In Bergeron's penultimate chapter, she delves into the resurgence of liberalism and market efficiency as central themes in development discourse during the 1980s. Structural adjustment programs, SAP, were promoted as solutions to the shortcomings of planning-led development, positioning the market as a natural instrument for economic growth. Bergeron highlights how these ideas were shaped by various actors, including governments, corporations, classes, and international development agencies. Despite the anti-state rhetoric of neoliberalism, Bergeron examines how the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund worked through governments, emphasizing the continued significance of the national economy in development projects. Critics like Stiglitz, Taylor, and feminist economists have examined SAP, but Bergeron suggests they often remain within the broad discursive contours of development thinking. For example, feminist economists address SAP's gender-based conflicts and power imbalances, resulting from the neglect of the reproductive sector. However, they may fall into the binary thinking of modernism, maintaining essentialist perspectives on women's roles as caregivers and nurturers. By not exploring the full spectrum of responses to SAP, an opportunity to highlight alternative forms of resistance is lost. This can perpetuate Eurocentric conceptions of development and globalization. Bergeron emphasizes that development discourse is inherently political and value-laden, challenging the notion of its objectivity. She aims to uncover the discursive processes that construct conceptual units, as this is crucial for her feminist revision of globalization and development. Acknowledging the complex, dynamic nature of globalization and development, Bergeron advocates for a transformative feminist vision that moves away from nation-centered, economistic perspectives. She calls for a focus on contradictory and heterogeneous subjectivities, exploring gaps and margins in development processes, and amplifying the voices of social movements that challenge power dynamics. While Bergeron's argument for analyzing power relationships in discursive tropes and conceptual categories is compelling, the reviewer raises a question about applying a similar critical analysis to social movements. The reviewer agrees with Bergeron's overall message and recommends the book as an insightful resource for gender and development students. It is relevant for courses in gender studies, globalization, feminist methodology, international political economy, and development studies.